Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from what is now dirtying up in the air in Salt Lake City, Utah.
God, it hurts to breathe. It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up on today's episode, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. We're giving thanks.
Giving a ka.
Or are we giving thanks? This is the question.
To whom are we grateful?
We
atheists.
We're going to discuss Thanksgiving.
Oh.
We may have to redo the whole thing. The
What?
whole holiday. We may have to just redo it.
Well, okay. Well, we'll have to get to that
Yeah, we will.
because, like, I'm a little mortified at the thought. I love Thanksgiving.
I do too.
It's like a real holiday that we can actually, like, I feel fully participate in. So
Right.
it's gonna be fun to like talk about it.
Right. Although,
Well, not fully.
Not-
There's always
not-
that one little bit.
not only do we have to, like, I think, revamp what it's called and what we're supposed to do, but I don't think we can call it a holiday because that means holy day.
Yeah, but I mean, we have federal holidays like Flag Day.
I know we
You
need a better
That's not
word.
a holy day, although it might be for some people.
It is for me.
The flag.
I worship the flag,
you are not alone,
the
Dan.
stars and stripes, man. At least
Yeah.
it's not the stars and bars.
Ooh, dear God, no. And there are those who definitely do some worship of it.
There's a couple
Of that one.
of the flyers of the Confederate flag here in our neighborhood.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It's completely out of context and weird.
It's apropos of something we'll be talking about later.
Yeah.
Of one of your stories. Actually.
Is it?
Well, I think racism, etc.
Yeah, sure.
Anywho, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I can start. Let's just get right to that one.
Okay.
This has been a story that I've seen this issue popping up, and over the last couple months, I've seen headlines and read, a few paragraphs of articles talking about the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe,
Weird.
which it's totally weird. So it's been coming up, and I finally was just like, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit bigger with it, but we can't ignore it any longer.
Right.
We need to talk about it, at least acknowledge it, and see where the conversation kind of goes, because it's really interesting. So there was this study put forth by where was it? The European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, known as the FRA.
The FRA.
The FRA. They did a survey.
Not to be confused with the Agency for Fundamentalist Rights, which is a totally different agency.
Sure, yeah. They surveyed almost 6,000 people, 16 years and over, who consider themselves Jewish
Okay.
in Belgium, France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Latvia, Sweden, and the United Kingdom.
Okay.
And what they found are some pretty startling numbers about how Jewish people are sort of feeling in their sense of security as Jews in their societies. And so they 66% of Jewish people in Europe see anti-Semitism as a problem in their respective countries. As high as 90% in Hungary see anti-Semitism as a problem, and 85% in France.
Huh.
So, I mean, it's kind of alarming because, France is like this great experiment in secular, governance.
Yeah, but they're so Frenchy. And I mean that in the sense of, like, anything that doesn't conform to this idea of what is French, kind of they buck against it.
Yeah.
They have all of these Muslims there, and they're just like, I mean, they have a ton of Muslims because they colonized a bunch of North Africa,
Right.
And then they had to let a bunch of people in, and now they're all sketchy about, like, not letting, no minarets at this place, and no headscarves and no blah blah blah, and so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I guess that they would be a little weird about Jews as well. Although,
here's the deal, though, and I kind of want to stop you there because it was a consideration that I had while reading this. It never says where the anti-Semitism is coming from. So it's not in my mind, reading this article, I cannot conclude that it's the Frenchy French population of France, right? There's also, like you just said, there's a large Muslim community, and perhaps that's factoring in somehow.
Okay, well, maybe.
Because remember, I mean, Paris is unbelievably cosmopolitan,
Indeed.
right? Like people from everywhere and every background. And so, to just immediately say, well, the Frenchy French are being a little too French.
Yeah, but
like,
I mean, what are we meant to conclude and here's the other thing.
Huge numbers of immigrants from
Right. Yeah.
And so
you know what I also want to do? I want to back off of the word anti-Semitism because people forget that like Arabic is a Semitic language. So anti-Semitism actually includes Arabs in
yes, but in this context, let's remember that what we are talking about is sense of anti-Jewishness.
Right. And I'd rather just use that phrase.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Okay. But the common understanding and how it's being used in this context is Jewish.
Right.
So, but anyways,
but yeah, that's weird. It's still
it's
weird.
Really, really weird. 30, let's see, what were some of these other numbers? Not just to focus on number, but 38% of Jews now avoid all the time or frequently wearing, carrying, or displaying things that might help people identify them as Jews in public. They're going that far with their sense of not being safe.
Right.
60% of Swedish Jews report this. 51% of French Jews act this way. 48% of Jews in Hungary and 46% of Jews in France have considered immigrating because they do not feel safe living in those countries as Jews.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's and we started talking about this detail, or just this. What is up with Jews? What is so terrible about Jews?
Right. You and I, when we were sort of first discussing this today, just couldn't figure out, like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
You and I have no context for the hating of Jews.
None. I don't understand it.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I mean, it can't all relate back to they killed our Jesus. Right. It can't possibly be that simple. So I started to think about it. I'll tell you one thing. One of the things that I know, I mean, so I went back in my extremely limited knowledge of history, and one of the things that I can draw on is dramatic literature, is theatrical literature, and so I started to think about like how Shakespeare dealt with Jews,
right?
And it was just this interesting. There's so much. I mean, even though he wrote a play, he wrote Merchant of Venice, which ostensibly, on some level, I think he thought he was being cool to Jews because he made the Jew, he gave the Jew the whole, if you prick us, do we not bleed speech and everything. Right. And then the Jew ends up being a huge dick at the end. And he's still, the day is saved by the merciful Christians and all that sort of thing.
Well, maybe that was just one Jew who was a dick.
No,
maybe that's what he was saying.
He was pretty much a stand-in for all Jews at that point. It's so alarming to me. I literally cannot figure out where, because it dates back at least that far and well beyond Shakespeare. And it's just this unbridled hatred. Just spit on them. Spit on the Jews.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah, I know. And we also were talking about, sort of the, I mean, when we were sort of growing up, the problem with Jews in this country was that there might still be some country clubs that were being a little exclusive. You know what I mean? Like as far as the
although the phrasing,
cultural,
the problem with Jews sounded a lot different.
the problem for the Jews,
okay,
Jewish community.
Okay,
that might be. Thank you, Dan, for pointing out, because that wasn't the problem with Jews. That clearly wasn't what I was saying.
The problem with Jews is they're not joining our country clubs enough.
I'm sure that was the attitude, but you know what I mean. Like, that was the thing that I was sort of most aware of,
right?
As being an issue. Now, of course, I did not live in a community with, a large Jewish community in it.
Right.
Right. And so it is weird to just be sitting here being I just don't get it. And what's amazing is just how entrenched it is in Europe.
Well,
I don't
what
get it.
could possibly be so different about these people than you?
Well, they wear little round hats.
They do have their headgear is entirely different.
Yeah.
So that's a thing right there.
Yeah.
And they only believe in the first part of the exact same Bible.
And they eat differently.
They
do have different diets.
It's awkward that they eat.
It's hard
like
to
that.
invite them over for dinner.
Yeah, it's like what am I going to cook for you?
Let's face it, that's a major.
I don't need to learn all of your laws.
It's why I don't invite vegetarians over.
Right, they're awful. It's a nightmare.
I'm a little anti-vegite.
All those vegans running around, and you're just like, I don't know what. Here, have a carrot. What do you want? I don't know.
Is that allowed?
Are you
allowed to eat a carrot?
This
if
carrot,
I handle it.
This carrot was in the same fridge as milk. Do you have a problem?
I mean, seriously though, like,
yeah,
what's the big deal?
I don't know.
I know it probably sounds so incredibly naive.
It
right?
must, but it's not. I mean, we're not naive to the problem, to the existing problem. I don't know that many people could drill down to the bottom of it. I don't know. Maybe if you have any thoughts about this out there, maybe we have some Jewish listeners that would care to chime in.
To chime in a little bit.
Oh, we had that former rabbi, who's now
That's
secular
true,
rabbi,
yeah.
Right into us. Maybe he can shed some light on.
I would actually really like to hear
Rabbi Gruber, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Right in.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair though, or maybe to be honest, and I don't know how fair this is, but to be honest, it seems like maybe the oppressed people's idea of why they're being oppressed may be skewed.
But I'm sure he has more information.
Much more than we have. Much more than we have.
And also being an American Jew.
Yeah, at least
the perspective of what might be going on in Europe, that would be a little different. But
right. They control Hollywood. The Jews.
There's a reason for that, Dan.
Well, and so what if they do? This is what's amazing to me. The Jews, they control Hollywood. Okay. Are you enjoying the movies that are coming out? Well, yeah, I kind of like a lot of them.
Then shut up.
Then why does it matter?
Then guess what? They're doing a good job.
Yeah. Go Jews.
Yeah.
Yet another success for the Jews.
Is your bank still open?
I'll just
applaud the Jews.
I'll just chalk one up for the Epsteins and the. Good Lord, I just don't get it. I really don't. Okay, we've beaten a dead horse. Jews are hated in Europe. Big news. Big news, everybody.
Yeah,
but it is big.
It's something that
still
we need
going
to,
on.
like,
how does Germany look? Germany's the one that you want to know about because obviously
Germany is strangely the one that is only just sort of mentioned in big lists, and it's listed as one of the countries where denying the Holocaust is a crime.
Right.
But it doesn't really shed any light on like what is currently. It's probably just in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
And the one thing to point out is this is actually this is one thing that we should just talk about really quickly. We can just power through this.
Okay.
So the one of the main places where they're really seeing anti-Semitism is on the internet. 75% of European Jews point toward the anti-Semitism on the internet above all else, followed by 59% for anti-Semitism in the media.
Well, then just don't go on the internet. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's clearly not the point. But so the article poses this question, and what exactly are they hearing in these places, right? 48% of respondents have seen or heard someone make the statement that Israelis behave like Nazis toward the Palestinians. 38% that Jews have too much power in the economy, politics, and the media, and 37% that Jews exploit Holocaust victimhood for their own purposes. Those are sort of the main things. And just to, again, put it a little bit more into a sense of what is happening and being said. so forth.
Yeah, it's stupid. If anybody out there hates the Jews, actually, if you can say that you hate, and then you can fill in the blank with any large group of people that you haven't met, the hell is wrong with you? Like, why would you? You don't. Yeah. Anyway,
Probably a lot of time. Well, anyways, we've used our time. For
okay. I'm going to take us. I'm going to do a couple updates. So
Okay.
A couple quick updates to two of the stories that we've reported on before.
Okay.
You'll recall that a while back I reported on. I think it was me. One of us reported on a pastor in Iowa, Brent Giroux. It's a very Frenchy name. Giroux. Who claimed that he was trying to cure teenage boys of their homosexual urges by having sex with them. You remember this?
Yeah, I do remember that.
The fucking the gay away.
Mm-hmm. Raping.
Rape the gay away.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, turns out. But he was caught. He was tried and sentenced to 17 years in prison. It still seems a little mild for my taste for a guy that that raped a bunch of boys.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it was reduced. His sentence was reduced.
Wait, okay. Seems the wrong direction to go.
It does seem the wrong direction to go. It was reduced to sex offender treatment and probation.
Okay.
He will serve no time.
You're really. So this is okay. So what's your take on that? I guess. I'm
I mean,
curious.
it's got to be because he's a pastor, right? If he had just done this to kids, if he was a janitor at an elementary school, there's no way this would have gone this direction.
It seems like a greater violation somehow, right? Or that it could be perceived as being a greater violation. Here was this guy who had an extra special kind of trust, and he broke it. So
yeah,
I mean, but I just kind of want to.
I'm just baffled.
Pin you down, So you're baffled by the.
Yeah.
By knowing our system and knowing how many years he should have gotten, not getting
anything.
Okay.
I mean, all of Iowa should be picketing at this point.
Yeah,
the entire state should just be like.
Well, what is the nature of the treatment? Like, what kind of?
I don't know.
Because you just last week said that,
Yes, you're right that I have a problem with punishment as a concept, but I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
And since it's our law now, I mean, at very least,
sure,
the law needs to be followed until we have. I don't know the answer. All I know is that it's outrageous that this guy is seemingly just going to get away with it.
Right.
I mean, treatment is only helpful for those who accept it.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something horribly, horribly wrong. This guy's going to go out among other children.
There was a moment of me just trying to kind of not play devil's advocate. What was it? Just kind of trying to figure it out in lieu of being outraged. I was just trying to figure out what you're thinking.
No, go ahead and just be outraged.
Yeah, no, it's completely. It's disgusting. I feel like there are details missing, though. There has to be something missing.
There are.
That because it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And it makes so little sense to me that I have a hard time, even feigning outrage, because I just feel like, well, what I don't get the story at all.
Yeah. I think I'll need to, I think more details will come out probably.
Well, let's keep updating.
So we'll keep our lookout for that. But
that's amazing.
It's just shocking to me.
Huh. Okay.
Just shocking. The second update that I have is an Amish girl. Do you remember the Amish girl, 10-year-old Amish girl who has leukemia?
Yeah, and
her parents didn't want to put her under the chemo. The state sued. Or the hospital sued, and the judge agreed that they have to put her on the chemo.
Yeah.
They've taken off.
They've taken off.
They have fled. to keep their girl from going through chemo. We don't know. Their lawyer has said that they are no longer there.
So some other Amish community elsewhere type thing?
Possibly not even in the country. We just don't know. But they
went back to Holland.
Their daughter was going to be taken away, and they just
disappeared with her, so she could die somewhere.
Yeah. Oh no, they're treating her with alternative medicine,
prayer.
Yeah. Lots and lots of delicious, yummy prayer. Apparently, she wasn't responding.
Incredibly useful. Prayer.
She was getting really sick from the chemo, which you do. You get sick from the chemo.
You get sick first.
It's not pleasant.
Right.
And she had begged them to take her off of it. And then,
how old was the girl again?
10.
10.
And then they did. Everything was fine until they did take her off of the chemo. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So, more to come with that, I guess, too.
Yeah. Definitely keep us updated on that.
Apparently, their family lawyer, you'll not be surprised to learn, leads the Libertarian 1851 Center for Constitutional Law, and he thinks that they're violating these parents' right to choose whether or not their kid.
But their kid's in a position to not be able to make her own decisions.
Right.
And that's when the state has to step in.
That's exactly the point. If it was their cancer.
Right.
And they're grown.
They can choose all they want.
Do whatever.
Their cancer.
Knock yourself out. You just,
put it in the hands of God as much as you want.
Use an essential oil. You don't see what happens then.
A balm.
Rub,
Excuse me, do you have this in an ointment instead? I don't like a cream. I prefer ointments.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Get some acupuncture.
Yeah.
But no, not for a child. A child, when we know how to cure it, but no, or you can run away.
Yeah. Well, good.
Oh, yeah. Really good.
That's some good parenting. Parenting.
And how? Anyway, what else you got?
All right. Well, I have a... this was some big news this week, actually. A federal judge has declared that the tax-free housing allowance that clergy are allowed is unconstitutional.
No.
I know. This means that somewhere in the neighborhood of 44,000 ministers, priests, rabbis, imams, and whatever other title you want to come up with could experience somewhere between a 5 and 10% cut in take-home pay. Which is
it's
nobody
not
wants
really,
to see that go
it's
away.
not really a cut in their pay. It's them paying their taxes.
Well, right, but it's a cut in their take-home. It's a cut in what they see and are able to spend because they're not paying those taxes.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big deal. The suit was filed by the FRF on the grounds that the housing allowance violates the separation of church and state.
Gee, how did they come to that conclusion? Just because it does?
U.S. District Court Judge Barbara Crabb, that's two B's, ruled in the favor of the FRF, saying that the exemption, quote, provides a benefit to religious persons and to no one else, even though doing so is not necessary to alleviate a special burden on religious exercise.
So this tax was basically like they didn't have to pay property tax on their home. Is that what it was? Or
no, it's that expenses like having their housing is tax deductible.
Oh, that's right. So there's a whole double dipping thing that's happening there, where they don't have to pay. Right. Where if I think so, the first part is that if the church, if the organization owns the home, then they don't have to pay the house the income tax or the property tax on it,
right.
And then the pastors also get to take this extra tax deduction,
right? Well, what it ends up happening is that because they live in that. I mean, let's say you live in a place that could rent for just $1,000 a month.
Sure.
Right. And so you're living in the place. You're not paying that $1,000 a month, but it is a benefit.
Right. So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when there's not a rectory in that sort of way, then they are given the same sort of thing through the way the tax code is structured.
Right.
So they're basically able to live in their home for free.
Most congregations pay for their pastors.
Exactly. They give them some kind of housing allowance.
Right.
And they don't have to pay taxes on it. Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
If you can get it.
Sure. It made us want to be pastors. I feel like you listeners are our congregation, our flock.
Yeah.
And maybe we're your pastors, shepherding you.
I don't feel that way at all.
Shh. I'm trying to get texts. Well, I mean, there's fewer benefits now.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. Why would we even want to try? By the time we would get like the whole status,
the whole kit
and all the benefits that come from it, here comes Fufurf.
Ruining everything.
Fucking it up for us.
For fucking it up. Oh, good gravy. Yeah. Well, there you go. For fucking it up for the...
That was going to be our big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the hell... But there's more. There's more. Like almost everything we buy, we could have written it off. Too late.
Wardrobe. Can you still write off wardrobe? I should be able to write off your wardrobe.
Oh, we could find a way to write off pretty much everything.
They're basically actors, and actors can write off their wardrobes.
Right? Yeah. So perfect. I mean, what we have to do, what it means we have to do is come up with a kind of uniform for ourselves. And if we can do that...
Can we do a jumpsuit of some kind?
Well, I certainly hope so. Our listeners who have seen our YouTube channel know how good I look in a jumpsuit.
I actually want it to be a onesie. I want it to start zipping at the leg, go up past the crotch, and all the way up to the neck. I want a onesie.
You can have a onesie. I'll stick with a nice...
That's the uniform. You can't have a uniform of one, Dan. We would both have to be dressed the same way.
We'll have to come up with a concept, some sort of compromise, because I don't think I need.
I need the feet. I want the little feet.
You're talking about footy pajamas.
Footy pajamas, yeah.
Footy pajamas.
Isn't that a onesie?
Yeah, I guess that is called a onesie.
I might be using a more general term, actually. Yeah, I want footy pajamas. Is what I want.
I don't know about that, man. Maybe.
And I want like a Care Bear shaped crest shield on my chest.
Yeah,
but not the symbol. I don't need the symbol.
No, why would you need that?
I just want like a big like white oval.
Well, it would just be a TGIA sort of thing.
Yeah, but I don't even need that.
You need it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to move on to this comes to us from Richland County in the fine state of South Carolina. There's a change proposed in the laws.
Oh?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of change?
The evil kind.
No.
Skun-dun-dun. They are proposing to allow bars to open within 600 feet of a church.
Oh God.
Until this moment, that has very graciously not been allowed.
No, of course not.
Clearly, you cannot allow a bar
nowhere near a church.
I mean, 600 feet just seems like the shortest possible distance. It seems ridiculous that it would be... I mean...
Even 600 feet.
I would call it half a mile to a mile. You can't have a bar near a church.
That seems excessive. Mile.
A mile.
Within a mile radius.
Right, exactly. No, of course that's stupid. Well, here's the problem. What's happening is that what's popping up all over South Carolina are essentially storefront churches. Churches that are in like industrial areas, in like a strip mall somewhere.
Okay.
Well, you can't not put bars in those areas. So what's happening?
Yeah.
So they're changing the laws.
Whenever I go to a strip mall, I need a drink.
Right? Yeah. Especially if there's a church there. Jesus, if I go to church in a strip mall, they better have alcohol at church.
They probably do.
For me.
Little cup.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Sacrament. Sacrament here is the Eucharist is a shot of whiskey and a beer back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is a little bit of outcry.
From whom?
Oh, from the churches, of course. It's way out of order, says Reverend John Culp, pastor at Virginia Wingard United Methodists.
Okay.
He says that this law is important. He says, quote, "To remove it is an outrage."
How? Does he elaborate?
Not really.
Why is it awful?
Yeah.
Why is having a bar next to a church awful?
For the same reason that all of the church rules. Because Jesus. That's why. I don't know. There's no reason. Yeah, it's...
Well, I mean, I get their perspective. They don't want it next to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't understand it.
Why should that be a law?
I don't.
Why do the churches specifically get that?
Yeah,
why is that given to churches? That seems like a problem to me, actually. That you can pick the kinds of businesses that can or cannot be next to churches.
Right, exactly. That it's preferential treatment.
I mean, if anything in our system, bars should be banning churches next to them.
Right? You guys are too close. Could you guys move a little further off?
Can you get about 600 feet?
Do your Jesus dance just a little further away. People are trying to drink here.
This makes so much more sense to do it that way.
It doesn't make any, like, I'm so baffled by this because it's clearly this knee-jerk reaction of like, I mean, what are they thinking is going to happen?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to stumble out of the bar and what?
Into church? That's where they should be going.
That's what they want.
They're living these hedonistic lives. They should want them to stumble
you would think.
upon
and
a
it's
church.
not. And most of these churches aren't teetotalers.
Well, it's so.
I'm guessing most of these churches they're full of drinkers.
Well,
I mean, there's no reason why a Methodist can't drink.
No, well, but they're
Mormons. Mormons could have a problem.
I'm not
with it.
saying. I mean, they clearly drink, but
Right.
they are.
Maybe they just don't want.
Might
Maybe
have a sense of like there being a taboo, or they may not like bars. Not a sense of taboo about drinking, but like what a bar represents to them. I could see that bothering them. Right?
I think they're just nervous that they'll see other parishioners at the bar.
Have a beer when they get home from work, but that's different than a bar.
Yeah.
Next.
I think they're just worried that they'll like see each other at the bar and be like, "Oh, hello, Brother Jones." Okay. Yeah. They called it an unwelcome change in the environment. Isn't that sad? It doesn't offer any protection, somebody said.
From what?
To many churches from having bars as unwanted neighbors.
The moments when bars are out of control are not the moments when people are at church.
Right, exactly. And
you know what I mean? Like Friday, Saturday night, people are barring it up.
Right.
They're getting their drink on. They're loud. They're out of control. How is that bothering?
Right.
They're not happening simultaneously.
I would think that they would want like no like auto garages near their church. You know what I mean?
Loud.
Like noise ordinance problems.
Yeah.
Might be an issue, but a bar? Yeah, Sunday day. That's when the bars are really troubling. All the bar hoodlums are really a problem on 6 at noon on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, interesting. Cool. I like it.
Okay.
All right. I have a story about some Mormons. Some Mormons in Philadelphia.
Okay.
The Mormon Church in Philadelphia. The Mormon Church, the so-called Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Indeed.
Is building a new temple in Philadelphia.
Oh, the temple.
Yeah, they're temple building people.
temples, for those of you who aren't aware, temples are not the daily or the weekly place that Mormons go, but rather it's a very special
place. It's a sacred place.
building where you go and you
get creeped out beyond belief because there's creepiness in the temple.
Our listeners will remember hearing about Mike going into the temples and recording all of the horrible, crazy, boring ceremonies there.
Yeah, so I mean, we don't need to go into details to like what Mormons do in there, but they're actually they don't do anything with them on Sundays.
They do drugs in the temple,
but they're building a new temple in Philadelphia, and because you have to build it, so you have to hire some people to build it. And so at this work site, the church has requested that there be no smoking, no swearing, and no coffee on the property because Mormons don't do those three things, supposedly.
Can I just say, I love this for so many reasons, but the main one is that my sort of stereotypical impression of blue-collar Philly guys is not going to be happy with this.
Well, you might be right. I don't know. Actually, Pat Gillespie, the business representative for the Philadelphia Building Trades Council, doesn't think that the church's requirements have discouraged any workers from signing up for the job.
Well, they want to work.
It's a job, right? So Pat says the construction workers are versatile and they can adapt. That is what the customer wants. It's a sound request.
Okay.
Being very, very politic here.
Right, yeah.
And he added, the church is, quote, paying the bill.
Indeed.
So they get to decide.
I feel that they're kind of begging for some interesting things to happen that they will never know about. But I guarantee you that inside some of the walls there are the most horrific line of profanity they can think of. Just written on the drywall where no one will ever see it. It's just fuck you, you fucking Mormon fucks.
On some beam somewhere.
Right. It's just there are going to be secret places within that temple. They're going to be like, I'll drink.
There are secret places in temples.
There are indeed.
The Mormons don't even know about these secret places.
Right, exactly. Just somewhere,
hiding bottles of liquor.
Yeah. Porn. There's porn just plastered everywhere inside of the walls of the Philly temple.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's kind of interesting. I was actually also kind of wondering, I think of construction workers. Have they also banned catcalling? Have they,
spitting?
Is this a totally pristine and very sort of Mormon workplace?
Instead of yelling to each other, "Hey Jimmy, bring down the blah blah blah," and then they're all just very nicely on their walkie-talkies. James,
well,
could you lower the crane, please?
Here's why I think it might be that way. So daily meetings with foremen and project managers always begin with prayer.
Gross.
Yeah. And Alex and Pamela Carr, a missionary couple from Utah, they're planning on holding weekly job prayers, whatever that is, over the site and the workers. And plus, every Wednesday, the Carrs give out homemade cookies to the workers.
Yeah. And of course, they're going to take the cookies. Of course you do.
It's the worst and best work site ever.
Right.
Because, the church, the LDS church, they do not cut corners when it comes to these temples and the way that they're built and the standards.
I think they've started to.
You think they do?
You remember going through the temple before the dedication up in Brigham City? There were things falling apart.
Things falling apart?
Yeah, you don't remember? On the stairs, there's some tiles that were missing and broken.
Yeah, but that can be fixed before.
I'm just saying.
A job of that size, nothing comes out. They probably do the punch list or whatever they call it after
Sure.
the
After they let everybody
through, and then they go through, and then
cattle.
they have the final sort of, okay, all this tile needs to be cleaned up, that carpet over there needs to be replaced, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Which, by the way, brings up an interesting point. If you're in the Philly area and you want to see the inside of a temple, before they dedicate it, they will let you in.
Yeah.
There will be a period of time when they'll let you sort of go through it.
That's fascinating.
It's interesting. I don't know. It's fine. It'll just.
I think it would be fascinating for somebody who wasn't.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
you'll
for
definitely
us, we
see some
walked through
things. You'll definitely see. You'll be in a room and be like, why are there deer painted on the walls?
Well, there's probably much more sort of. Well, yeah, I'm sure but they're gonna pick sort of Pennsylvania as the setting for all the murals. They'll do that.
The lovely foliage.
Yeah. Here, the murals are all like mountainy and
Right.
Yeah.
It would be interesting. If any of you go, see what pictures you can take and send them in to us.
That'd be wonderful.
That'd be great. Anyway, I'll move on to your home state of Oklahoma, where there has been a bit of hubbub.
Yeah.
A letter was sent, dated November 13th, to the governor, the attorney general, members of the Oklahoma Senate, members of the Oklahoma House of Representatives, the mayor of Oklahoma City, members of the Oklahoma City Council, the sheriff. Just, this letter was sent to everybody.
Okay.
And it was signed by like dozens, plural, of pastors and religious leaders.
Oh my.
They are outraged.
About what?
Outraged, I say. About their letter starts thusly. I'll just read the first paragraph of the letter. In 1965, United Artists released an epic movie on the life of Jesus Christ called The Greatest Story Ever Told. Now, in an overtly offensive play, the Bible is publicly mocked in The Most Fabulous Story Ever Told, which is scheduled to open in the City Space Theater at the Civic Center in Oklahoma City just in time for Christmas.
Uh-oh.
Gay Bible. Gay Bible play.
Oh.
It's a play about it, and apparently it's just this goofy send-up of the Bible.
With all gay characters?
All gay. It's
transvestites.
It starts with Adam and Steve in the Garden of Eden.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's cute.
It's probably awful,
I'm sure it's not great.
but it has every right to exist.
Of course it does. Now, of course
And to be played in Oklahoma.
Well,
should be played.
but it's being played in a civic building. And that's their objection.
Oh, no.
Or part of their objection. There's also apparently some male nudity and stuff, and some simulated sexual behaviors. But but in the end, so that was their complaint. In the end, the response was simply that under the First Amendment, we are not allowed to govern the content of what goes up there. We are just there for people to rent. And if you have a problem, take it up with the producers of the play.
Fantastic.
Isn't
It's a
that-
play.
It's a play.
Oh, I thought it was a movie.
No.
It's a play.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I said.
Well, I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, it's the big gay play.
The big gay play. Okay. Oh, then that's a horse of a different color.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So isn't
I would have been fine with the movie too, but yeah,
that great?
play you put on a play.
Yeah. Yeah. Although literally this list of pastors that has signed this thing is so fucking long. It's redonkulous.
Right.
And they are just up in arms. As a matter of fact, if you want to know the quality of the play, what's hilarious is that the pastor's letter to all of the officials, it actually says, on artistic merit alone, the play falls short. The New York Times review on this play included such comments as, quote, the evening still needs a bit of pruning, and, quote, it sometimes strains in its bad boy impishness.
Oh.
Not all jokes are created equal, even by Mr. Rudnick.
So they're like, so
Literally,
we really have our main beef is that it's gay people, but on honestly, it's also just bad.
The New York Times.
If you can't dismiss this because of the gay people,
Right.
then at least on artistic merits you should be able to dismiss this.
I love it.
And it's
it
like,
literally
well,
says
on neither of those do we ever get involved. They've rented the theater,
Right.
and they have the right to use it
right.
thusly.
They have the right to A, put on a play, whether good or bad.
Yes.
And B,
We don't monitor the content.
be gay and show their wieners if they need to.
Right.
And that seems to be their take on it. They did not kowtow or defer to this huge list of pastors. I love that they ended the New York Times paragraph of their letter with, when a newspaper known for its liberal point of view struggles to defend a liberal play, then that alone is cause for concern.
Even the New York Times hates this play.
Honestly. Oh, in addition, secondly, this play is an affront to the contemporary community standards of our fine city.
Oh, to be honest, it's probably an affront to the gay community, but it should still.
It's an affront to all of us. But they
Probably
have
an affront to theater.
Right.
It's an affront to everything.
Who knows what it is?
It's probably awful.
Somebody in Oklahoma, will you go and see this thing and tell us what it's like? Just go. You might as well. It's probably going to be fun. I mean, it's just a bunch of It's a bunch of gay fun.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned gay
frolic.
fun. It is a frolic.
Gays love to frolic.
Just do. There's nothing you can do about it. And what's not to love? Frankly, straight people would frolic too if they could get their heads out of their asses.
Yeah.
I love a good frolic.
I've seen straight people frolic.
Sure.
Granted, not as much as I've seen gay people frolic.
No, gay people, gay men are the frolickers.
No, it's not the lesbians.
Yeah. I was just clarifying. We're saying gay people. We mean gay men.
Yeah. I had a comment.
You better say it.
I know. The thought was, lesbians. Most lesbians have a hard time getting 2 feet off the ground, much less frolic.
No. Bad Franklin. Calling the lesbians fat. That's not very nice.
I'm sorry, lesbians.
Anyway,
you know I love you, lesbians. I do.
He does. I can verify this. Anyway, so yes, Oklahoma City. Go and see the most fabulous story ever told. You should tell your parents about it, Frank.
They're 3 hours away. They wouldn't.
Could be worth the drive.
If it was, if it was something else, I'm sure.
You don't think Frank Sr. would, Frank the Third would dig it?
No.
Anyway.
No.
Nope, I don't think he would. Well, if you have anything you need to say to us, if you have anything you need to tell us, if you are a lesbian and are horribly offended,
and still can stomach liking us on Facebook,
then here are the ways you get in touch with us. You can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Or you can send us a voicemail. You can call in and talk to us. That's a fun thing to do. You can do that at 424-666-TGIA. That's 424-666-8442.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break. This is Ron Reagan. Not Ronald Reagan.
Well,
Ron
I mean,
Reagan.
he probably is Ronald Reagan.
Sure, but he goes by Ron.
Right. This is the son of our president, Ronald Reagan.
Yes, indeed.
Who has decided to do a commercial.
I'm Ron Reagan, an unabashed atheist, and I'm alarmed by the intrusions of religion into our secular government. That's why I'm asking you to join the Freedom from Religion Foundation, the nation's largest and most effective organization of atheists and agnostics, working to keep state and church separate. Phone 1-800-335-4021, 1-800-335-4021, or visit the Freedom from Religion Foundation at ffrf.org. Ron Reagan, lifelong atheist, not afraid of burning in hell.
Interesting.
Oh,
we should say that we did not receive any money from FFRF to play that. They're
That's
not sponsors
true.
of this show.
That's true. But they should be.
They very easily could be, but so far.
Apparently they think they have better things to do, like
reach out to
Supreme Court cases and that sort of thing.
Well, and to getting Ron Reagan.
Ron Reagan.
What do we
wow.
think of? What do we think of?
Well,
of
he's
this?
he literally came out as an atheist like months after his dad died, publicly, and has been a supporter of the cause ever since. So, way to stick it to your pops there, Ronnie.
Yeah,
Good job.
I have a feeling a lot of his life decisions were
We're
based on sticking it to his dad.
Well, that's a possibility, I suppose.
I mean,
That's pretty standard for a lot of men.
yeah,
Living their lives, in somewhere in the back of their minds, it's about sticking it to their pops.
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, so, tis the season for giving thanks, is what we got here.
Yes, it is. And so first, we should thank some people.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
We are going to thank a couple of folks. We wanted to thank, Jed and Joni, who contributed to us. These are contributors. These are our donors to our fine podcast.
Well, thank you.
So Jed and Joni did, and they had their message to us. They left a little note that just said, "Frank and Dan, you guys make for wonderful date drive fodder. We are looking forward to more podcasts in 2014."
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys.
They're from here in our home state.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Well,
so
good. Great.
You know what? Roll down the windows and blare us really loud so that other people get offended. And Ross also gave us a one-time donation. So I just want to thank all of them. And if you want to follow in their footsteps, and we'll be thankful to you, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com, and on the side of the page, on the right-hand side of the page, you can find the donate button, and you can donate to us.
Yeah.
Help keep us on the air.
Yeah.
What else are you thankful for there, Franklin?
Well, I'm thankful for my health and this beautiful city that we live in. And
Can I ask you a question?
yeah.
To whom are you thankful for those things?
That's a very good question.
And I think that's the problem with Thanksgiving for those of us who do not believe in a God.
Yeah. But I mean, how does that work? Because like the whole idea is, I mean, it's Thanksgiving, and I mean, I'm going to be going to a Thanksgiving tomorrow where there will be no, at all, thanking God. There won't even be grace. There won't be anything, right?
Right.
And kind of feel lucky for that, actually.
Do you feel thankful?
I don't know that I feel thankful for it, but I do feel lucky. And so yeah, but for people who are going to a Thanksgiving where there's some God involved, yeah, it's an interesting question. Like having that sense of gratitude at this time, it's what the holiday is about, right? It's about sort of stopping and reflecting and thinking about, all the ways in which you're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast, it means you have an internet connection.
Yeah, you got a computer or a phone or
you're
something.
You're enjoying a certain standard of living that not everybody on this planet is even close to. And so, yeah.
So that's pretty
it's a
great.
tough one.
We should say, because not everyone that listens to this show is American, that Thanksgiving is a holiday here where we traditionally, what it comes from, or at least what you're taught in the schools, is that there was a day where the first settlers, the first English settlers here on this land,
the Pilgrims,
we call them the Pilgrims, even though that's nothing like what they were doing. It was hardly a pilgrimage. But they were pilgrimage is to a holy site. They were running from what they deemed an unholy place.
Yeah, but
that's a big difference.
They voyaged.
They did voyage,
and they created something.
Indeed,
they created
but what they created was not enough to sustain them, and they were struggling for their food. Is the theory, or is as the story goes?
Oh yeah.
And the natives of this land, the Native Americans, the Aboriginal peoples of the Americas, were kind enough to share some very lovely comestibles.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a celebration teaching us all how to be thankful for things.
Mm-hmm. Well, because they were thankful. I mean, it's an end of harvest holiday.
Right.
You know, it's meant to be, okay, well, we survived thus far, and we're about to enter, and we were able to gather up enough that we're going to be able to get through winter.
Indeed. So that's the basics of it. Of course, that if you're a Native American, then you have a different side of this story.
Perhaps mixed emotions.
Indeed. But those are the basics. And if you're Canadian, then you've already celebrated your Thanksgiving, and that
an earlier harvest.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And it's harder to get over the river and through the woods this time of year up there.
Okay.
Anywho, so we would, I guess we just wanted to talk about, I feel that this is a problematic, it's like, as you said, I love Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
It's secular. There's no Jesus. Nobody's trying to inject Jesus really into it in terms of any
it doesn't,
overt thing.
It doesn't matter your faith tradition or non-faith tradition.
Right.
People still gather and do essentially the same thing.
Right.
They have a big meal. Their family gets together. Maybe they get together with their friends, but it's a feast.
You have a feast.
It's a holiday about having a big meal.
Right. And to me,
dessert.
And dessert. And then rolling on the ground and saying, "Why did I eat so much? What's wrong with me?"
And it used to involve watching ER.
I think football's more of the tradition than ER. But okay.
We would be laying around on the couch and then we'd turn ER on.
Okay. Fair enough.
I know I'm not the only one.
That's not the one with George Clooney, is it?
Yeah, he was on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, fine. Great. I think the problem comes in when we ask, is thankful the right word?
Well, at a lot of these Thanksgiving dinners, there will be somebody at the dinner table who suggests that we go around the table and say something that we're thankful for.
Right.
And so there's this moment of being like, oh, but I mean, if in my perspective, it really is, I mean, you're right that it's a tough emotion because thankfulness and gratitude have a direction. Right? You're pointing it at something. I'm thanking you, typically. Can you just sort of thank the ether?
Yeah, it involves, thankfulness in general involves a giver, an object of your thankfulness, of your gratitude, that has somehow bestowed upon you the things for which you are thanking.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, I really like the notion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hadn't really questioned it until this year, really, because the concept of being grateful for I have a great life, and I don't want to lose sight of that fact. I have no intention of getting jaded or getting, or when there's plenty of misery to go around, my little problems are so insignificant compared to so many people's that I want to feel grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the wording is wrong. Maybe I just feel really fortunate.
But it doesn't feel like it's the same emotion. It doesn't feel like it's sort of doing the same thing for your quote unquote soul.
Right.
Right? That little gut sense that I just expressed the right sentiment.
Yeah.
Right? Like going around the table and say something that you feel fortunate for.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
like
you don't want to call it like lucky.
Yeah.
It just seems cheaper.
Yeah, well, because a lot
lucky.
of stuff might be, because luck is like how much is actually luck,
Well, but all of it's luck.
Well,
I mean, I was
luck.
born into an upper middle class household.
Yeah, but again, even like luck, there's it's like it just happened.
Yeah.
It wasn't that there was luck. It wasn't that there was some even mystical.
Not luck in I'm not talking about luck in any sort of magical terms.
I'm just any sort of Irish way.
Right. I'm just talking about luck in terms of like fortune. Like I just happened to have been born into the situation I was born into, in the country that I was born in the place that I was born in, and the time I happen to have the easiest color skin to have. You know what I mean? Like there's all of this stuff that just happened to happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of make my life that much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was none of my doing that got me to this point. I don't take much credit for the goodness of my life.
Right. Well, I mean,
so that's where this thing comes in. This whatever it is, if it's not gratitude, then I just don't know what to say about it. I'm not grateful to a person or a being or an entity. It's not. There's no God. There's no force out there. There's no intelligence.
Well, you ungrateful,
right?
Little whatever.
So and so. Yeah, that's me. I'm ungrateful. But I feel incredible. And what's funny is that when I say incredibly fortunate, the word that comes more strongly to mind is blessed.
You definitely weren't blessed.
I feel like there's a huge gap in our language now.
Yeah.
That doesn't allow for us to express the thing that we're trying to express.
Well, what is it then?
I don't know.
And is it I feel it's a good thing. I feel it's a necessary thing to take account. Right?
Sure.
To look at your life and to say, this is what's going well. This is what I, was able to do this year. This is what happened to me this year. This is what, I'm still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
And no buses hit me.
Yeah.
I have a friend who got hit by a car about a year ago.
Okay.
She was just broken in every way. She went for like a month and a half without a huge chunk of her skull. Like, this is how badly she was broken. And that didn't happen to me. I feel pretty good. She's got to feel great because she's still alive. She's walking now. Like, she's got to... the shit happened to her. So that's not anything to feel that great about. But, these are all things for which I would like a word. And it's not thankfulness and it's not gratitude because those have that object problem.
Right.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I think all you can do is to just sit back. But here's the deal. Like, can you maybe not have the word, but know what the sensation is?
Absolutely.
And so,
you know what?
I'm more than happy.
That's
what you have until you have a good word.
I'm more than happy to just sort of go with the flow and call it thankfulness or gratitude.
Right. Yeah.
Just because it's an easy shorthand. People will know what I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah. I'm very grateful that.
Right.
Well, grateful.
But the problem is that I'm going to be
grateful. I'm grateful. It
to
feels.
Whom?
But I don't think that grateful has sort of the same sense of it being focused at something or towards something. I'm grateful.
I would like to project a general gratitude.
If you work backwards, right? If you think too deeply about it, then you're going to run into a problem. But the word grateful, it feels okay to me.
It's fine.
It's great. Grateful giving.
Yeah.
What do you call the holiday then?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but even if you look up grateful in the dictionary, it says feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness, thankful.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's just no way around it.
And are we making a mountain out of a molehill?
Maybe, but I think that this is one of those problems where there's a lexical gap in the language because secularism is essentially, like, acceptable secularism is new.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have language for it yet. There's a lot of Pete Boghossian doesn't like us to use phrases like "thank God" or "God bless you" or whatever, or "bless you" when you sneeze or whatever, because those phrases belong in a different place.
Well, I used one earlier, "devil's advocate."
Yeah, exactly,
and that was on his list, and it's like what sums it up so in the same way.
Right. Well, the problem is that these are to some extent, my argument would be that these are all phrases that belong not to religion but to culture now. They are they belong to all of us. It's the title of our show.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm atheist.
Well, yeah, but it's not our show because we're being a little cheeky.
Right, that's true. But but the point is that, like, when someone sneezes and somebody else says bless you, I don't have a problem with that because it doesn't mean anything about religion. It just means sorry you sneezed or whatever. It's just a thing that you say.
Right.
It's a cultural thing that you say. So
you could say salute.
Indeed.
Gesundheit.
Right. And I say Gesundheit most of the time. But I think that the idea is that until we find a good replacement, I mean, you're right. We are kind of making a big deal out of nothing.
Yeah.
But you want there to be a thing. You know, I want there to be our thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be using their thing. I want there to be a thing that's just as good that's our thing.
Yeah, but we've seen that before. It never is as good.
Oh, it doesn't work. No, it has to come organically. It has to arise organically. Otherwise, it's Festivus. And you can't, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There you go. I'm very glad that people listen to us and they say nice things to us.
You're glad.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm very
Gladsgiving. Gladness
time. Gladness.
Gratitude. I'm feeling a lot of gratitude.
An attitude of gratitude, everybody, on this fine Gladsgiving day.
I'm glad that I live in this.
Wow.
That doesn't work. I'm glad. I was trying to mull it over. I'm glad that I've had a good year. I'm glad.
It sounds weak as hell.
Yeah.
It sounds just weak as hell.
Yeah.
But I am glad. I'm very happy that we get to do this show, that people tell us that it helps them.
I am thankful that we get to do this
well,
show.
I am
full of thanks.
I will say I'm thankful to our listeners who have written wonderful things over the years and have sent and have been willing to share their time and their money with us and helped us put this thing on.
Absolutely.
I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful to Mackenzie, who has been helping us with the Facebook.
She's become our social media guru, really.
Person.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to the Red Rock Hot Club, who played amazing music and then let us use it for free.
Yeah.
You can go to redrockhotclub.com. I think that's what. No. Oh shoot. Somebody did write to us and ask us how they could get in touch with them. You're just gonna have to Google.
That was sounding very good up until that point. Dan.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that I was closing it up that quickly.
Yeah, you were really wrapping it up.
So there you go.
Well, I am thankful for an email address.
Yeah,
where people can send us messages. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Sure. I'm thankful for how easy it's been for us to set up, for instance, our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Which is facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And I'm incredibly thankful to the kind folks over at Google who, for whatever reason, allow people to sign up for a telephone number free of charge.
Free of charge.
And then you have a voicemail attached to it.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
It's just
And the
crazy.
number for that is 424-666-8442.
And it is redrockhotclub.com that you can go if you want to be grateful and thankful for their music, which I encourage you all to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there you go. So until next time, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
That was actually more sincere than it sounded.
Yeah, well, there you go. It was
Okay.
totally sincere. Anyway,
Okay, bye-bye.
bye.